Chosen one, stop whatever you're doing. I need your undivided attention for what I'm about to share. This isn't just another video or some form of spiritual entertainment. This is a direct communication concerning events in the heavenly realms that specifically involve you. I know you might doubt what I'm saying. A part of you might think this is just generic content. But before we continue, understand this. If this video has appeared in your life at this precise moment, it's because your own transformed soul has guided you here to receive confirmation of something you've been feeling but couldn't quite articulate. God is impressed with you. And when I say impressed, I'm not using poetic language to flatter you. I'm revealing that angels themselves are taking note of you in higher dimensions. Something about your journey, your evolution, the person you've become against all odds, has captured divine attention in a remarkable way. You see, God observes billions of souls every second. He witnesses the entire human story simultaneously. Nothing really surprises him because he knows the end from the beginning. However, there's a significant difference between knowing what will happen and being profoundly moved by how it happens, and how you have become who you are today. That moved him deeply. I'm not referring to your external achievements, your job title, or your bank balance. I'm speaking about the internal transformation you underwent when no one was watching. The silent battles you fought that no one will ever know about, the moments you chose to persevere when every fiber of your being screamed to give up. That is what caught God's attention. Subscribe to this channel now and turn on all notifications. Because what I'm about to reveal about the specific moment your evolution impressed the Creator of the universe will completely transform how you perceive your own journey. And stay until the end, because I'm going to show you exactly what you did that made even celestial beings pause to observe why your transformation activated divine recognition, which is about to manifest in your physical life, and what God is preparing to deliver to you as a response to the person you have chosen to become. Write 777 in the comments if you feel you've undergone a transformation that no one around you truly understood. Let me transport you to a scene that unfolded in heavenly dimensions. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, but a real event that occurred in realms your physical eyes cannot perceive, but your spirit has always known exist. There's a moment in every chosen one's life that gets recorded in what the ancients called the Book of Life. It's not merely a record of deeds, good or bad. It's a complete registry of the soul's journey. Every choice, every transformation, every moment of growth. Your book has been in the process of being written since before your birth. Every chapter documents a phase of your evolution. Each page contains details about battles you fought, lessons you learned, and transformations you underwent. And recently something occurred that caused your book to be flagged for special attention. You see, there are specific angels assigned to monitor transformations that exceed normal parameters. Most humans follow predictable patterns. They grow a little, stagnate, perhaps regress, and then grow again. It's a cycle that repeats with variations but rarely produces anything that stands out in cosmic terms. But you broke the pattern in a period that should have destroyed you. You evolved in circumstances that break most people. You became stronger in conditions that typically breed bitterness and resentment. You cultivated compassion and wisdom. This anomaly in your trajectory triggered an automatic alert in heavenly monitoring systems. Your file was pulled for review by higher-ranking entities, and when they analyzed what had happened, when they traced the path of your transformation step by step, they did something unusual. They took your case to God's direct attention, not because you were in trouble, not because you needed intervention, but because what you accomplished was worthy of being witnessed by the Creator himself. Let me explain something about how divine observation functions. God sees everything, yes, but there's a distinction between omniscient awareness and focused attention. In the same way, you're aware of countless things happening around you, but only truly pay attention to a few. God's focused attention is reserved for moments of genuine significance, and your transformation earned that focused attention. When God turned his direct gaze to the specifics of your evolution, when he observed not just what you became but the path you walked to become it, something happened that the angels present had rarely witnessed. He was pleased in a way that went beyond standard approval. You need to grasp what this signifies. God isn't easily impressed. He created galaxies with a word. He designed systems of infinite complexity that human minds can barely grasp. He has witnessed every act of heroism, every sacrifice, every transformation in human history. But there's something about authentic transformation forged in the crucible of suffering that moves even the heart of the infinite. And that's precisely what you demonstrated. See, it would have been easy for you to become bitter. Given what you endured, no one would have blamed you. The betrayals you suffered, the disappointments you faced, the moments when life seemed determined to break you, any of those could justify closing your heart permanently. But you didn't close it. You fully felt the pain. You didn't deny it or suppress it. You allowed yourself to experience the full weight of every hurt, every disappointment, every shattered expectation. And then you did something that most humans never managed to do. You transformed that pain into fuel for evolution. The wounds that should have left permanent scars became sources of wisdom. The betrayals that should have made you incapable of trusting became lessons in discernment. The failures that should have defined your identity became stepping stones to becoming someone stronger. This is spiritual alchemy in its purest form, taking the lead of suffering and transmuting it into the gold of wisdom. And you did it not through techniques or methods, but through a raw, authentic choice to not let circumstances dictate who you would become. God watched you make that choice, not once, but repeatedly. Every time life knocked you down, he observed to see what you would do. And each time you chose to rise, not as the same person, but as someone better. That consistency of choice is what impressed him. Let me tell you about a night that you might not even consciously remember. But that became a pivotal moment in how heaven perceives you. It was a night when you were completely alone, perhaps not physically, but emotionally and spiritually isolated. You were facing something that felt insurmountable. The weight on your shoulders seemed unbearable, and there was no one you could turn to who would truly understand what you were going through. In that darkness, in that absolute solitude, you had a choice. You could surrender to despair, let bitterness take root, decide that the universe was against you and that fighting was pointless. But instead, you did something remarkable. You found a spark of light within yourself, not from external sources, not from motivational content or encouraging words from others. You found it in the depths of your own being, in that place where your spirit connects with something greater than yourself, and you use that tiny spark to keep going. That moment was recorded with special annotation in your book. Because finding light when surrounded by complete darkness, when there are no external sources of hope, when everything logical says to give up, that demonstrates a connection with divine essence that most humans never access. You tapped into something eternal that night, something that exists beyond circumstances, beyond feelings, beyond what can be seen or touched. And you used it not for extraordinary feats, but simply to take the next step when taking the next step seemed impossible. Heaven noticed. For those who want to delve deeper, there's exclusive material in the description and pinned comment. Now, let me reveal something that might startle you. Your transformation didn't just impress God. It created ripples in spiritual dimensions that are still expanding. You see, in the interconnected nature of spiritual reality, significant transformations don't happen in isolation. When one soul manages to evolve against tremendous odds, it creates a kind of template, an energetic pathway that makes it slightly easier for other souls facing similar challenges. Your evolution literally made the universe more hospitable for transformation. This is why chosen ones matter so much. It's not about being special or superior. It's about being pioneers who blaze trails through impossible terrain so others can follow. Every chosen one who manages to transform darkness into light expands the collective possibility for all of humanity. And God is especially moved by this because it aligns with His deepest intention for creation. That beings would choose to grow, to evolve, to become more than they were, not through force, but through free will. You exercised that free will in conditions that would have broken most people. You chose transformation when stagnation would have been easier. You chose to become better when becoming bitter would have been justified. That choice echoed through the dimensions. I want you to consider something. Do you remember a time recently when you felt inexplicably lighter? When a burden you'd been carrying for years suddenly seemed less heavy? When a perspective shift happened almost automatically? And you found yourself able to forgive or release something that had been stuck? That wasn't random. That was the beginning of heaven's response to your transformation. You see, when God is impressed by someone's evolution, He doesn't just observe from a distance. He begins orchestrating circumstances to support and accelerate that evolution. Doors start opening, opportunities align, the right people appear at the right moments. Not because you earned it through performance, but because your transformation demonstrated that you would use whatever resources you received to continue growing, to continue becoming, to continue evolving into the fullest expression of who you were created to be. God invests in those who prove they're committed to growth, and you've proven that commitment through years of consistently choosing to not let circumstances win. Now, I need to tell you about something that's currently in process. Something that's being arranged in spiritual dimensions that will manifest in your physical reality in ways you're not expecting. God has assigned specific angels to your case, not guardian angels who have always been with you, but specialists who are called in when someone reaches certain thresholds of transformation. These are entities whose function is to help bridge the gap between spiritual evolution and material manifestation. Their job is to ensure that your internal transformation gets reflected in your external circumstances. This doesn't mean you're going to win the lottery tomorrow. Divine manifestation doesn't work like that. What it means is that alignments are being created, connections are being prepared, circumstances are being arranged, so that opportunities will appear that perfectly match the person you've become, not the person you were. This is crucial to understand. Many people pray for blessings they're not ready to receive. They ask for opportunities they don't have the capacity to handle. And God, in His wisdom, often withholds those things, not out of cruelty but out of love. But you've developed capacity through transformation. You've built inner strength through consistent choice. You've prepared yourself through years of choosing growth over comfort, evolution over stagnation. And now, the external circumstances are being aligned to match your internal reality. Think about it. Have you noticed subtle shifts lately? Small things that seem insignificant individually but form a pattern when you look at them together? Conversations that plant seeds of new possibilities? Ideas that come to you seemingly from nowhere? Chance encounters that feel somehow meaningful? These are not coincidences. These are the early movements of divine orchestration responding to your transformation. God is not just impressed with who you became, He's actively participating in what you're becoming. This is the part of the story that most people miss. They think divine approval is the end, that being recognized by God is the goal. But recognition is just the beginning. When God is impressed by a soul's evolution, He enters into active partnership with that soul's continued growth. Not as a distant observer, but as an engaged collaborator. The same creative force that spoke galaxies into existence begins working with you to shape your reality. This partnership isn't always comfortable. Growth rarely is, but it's always purposeful. Every challenge you face from this point forward isn't punishment or testing in the old sense. It's curriculum specifically designed for your continued evolution. And here's what makes you different from most people who reach this level. You've proven you can handle the curriculum. You've demonstrated through years of experience that you will choose transformation regardless of how difficult the circumstances. That proven track record is why God is willing to entrust you with more. I know you've been waiting for something. Maybe you couldn't articulate exactly what, but there's been this sense that something bigger is coming. That all the preparation, all the transformation, all the painful growth was leading somewhere specific. You're right, it is leading somewhere, but not where you might think. It's not leading to a destination, it's leading to an expansion of capacity so vast that your current self can barely comprehend it. God isn't preparing a reward for you. He's preparing you for something that requires the exact combination of strengths that your unique journey has developed. The specific wounds you healed, the particular challenges you overcame, the exact wisdom you gained through your exact experiences, all of it was preparation for something only you can do. There are people you will reach that no one else can reach. Not because you're better than others, but because your specific journey gave you access points that only you possess. The pain you transformed gives you credibility with people going through similar pain. The darkness you navigated gives you the ability to guide others through their own dark nights. This is your purpose beginning to activate, not as a distant concept, but as a practical reality that will unfold in the days and weeks ahead. You'll know it's happening because opportunities will appear that feel tailor-made for exactly who you've become. Not who you're trying to be, not who you think you should be, but who you actually are, forged through fire and transformation. Let me share something with you that might bring everything into focus. There's an ancient concept that describes souls who volunteer for difficult incarnations, not because they have karma to pay, but because they want to develop strength that can only be developed through challenge. These souls choose hard lives on purpose, knowing that the difficulties they'll face are the exact conditions needed for the evolution they desire. You are one of these souls. Your life wasn't hard because you did something wrong. It wasn't difficult because the universe was punishing you. It was challenging because you chose a curriculum that would develop specific capacities that you needed for your purpose, and you passed, not by avoiding the challenges, but by meeting them and being transformed by them. God is impressed because He knows what you volunteered for before you were born. He knows the full scope of what you agreed to face, and He's watching you fulfill that agreement with a grace and resilience that honors the courage of your original choice. You chose this life, not the painful parts specifically, but the growth opportunities they represented. And instead of being crushed by what you chose, you've been forged into something remarkable. That took courage of a kind that exists beyond physical bravery. It took spiritual courage, the willingness to keep becoming even when becoming hurts, the commitment to stay open when closing down would be easier, the determination to transform when stagnating would be comfortable. You exercise that courage consistently, and now you're beginning to see why. The transformation you underwent wasn't just for you. It was preparation for service that your evolved self can now provide. Not service that depletes you, but service that fulfills you. Not sacrifice that diminishes you, but contribution that expands you. This is the shift that's happening. From transformation for its own sake to transformation as preparation for impact. From personal evolution to evolution that benefits others through your evolved presence. You're not going to have to try to help people. Your presence will be help. Your story will be medicine. Your transformed energy will be a catalyst for transformation in others. This is what it means to be truly chosen. Not selected for privilege, but prepared for purpose. Not elevated above others, but equipped to lift others. Not separated from humanity, but transformed to serve humanity more effectively. And God is impressed because you didn't resist this preparation. You didn't run from the fire that forged you. You didn't demand to know why before you were willing to endure. You trusted the process even when the process was painful. You kept going even when you couldn't see where you were going. You maintained faith even when faith seemed foolish. That kind of trust, that kind of persistence, that kind of faith, it moves the heart of God in ways that grand gestures never could. Now, I need to tell you what happens next. The recognition you've received in spiritual dimensions is about to begin manifesting in physical reality, not as some dramatic supernatural event, but as a series of alignments that will feel like life finally cooperating with who you've become. Relationships that serve your growth will deepen. Relationships that hinder it will naturally dissolve. You won't have to force either movement. The frequency you now carry will automatically attract what matches and repel what doesn't. Resources will begin flowing in ways that seem almost magical. Not necessarily huge amounts all at once, but consistent provision that confirms you're supported in your purpose. You'll notice that what you need appears when you need it, sometimes in ways you couldn't have orchestrated yourself. Clarity will increase about what you're meant to do. The fog that might have surrounded your sense of purpose will begin lifting, not revealing everything at once, but showing you the next step with increasing precision. And perhaps most importantly, you'll experience a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. A deep okayness that remains stable even when external situations are turbulent. This is the hallmark of someone whose transformation has reached a certain depth, whose identity is no longer dependent on external validation. This is what God is delivering in response to your transformation. Not stuff, alignment, not things, peace, not rewards, partnership with the divine in creating a life that matters. The person you've become deserves a life that matches, and that matching is what's being orchestrated right now. I want you to understand something crucial as we approach the end of this revelation. Everything I've described is not about you being better than others. It's about you being faithful to your own journey. You didn't compare yourself to others and try to beat them. You compared yourself to who you were yesterday and committed to being better. That commitment, sustained over time, is what created the transformation that impressed God. Not talent, not special abilities, not circumstances of birth, but commitment. This means anyone can do what you did. Anyone can choose transformation. Anyone can commit to growth. Your journey proves it's possible, and in proving it's possible, you've become a beacon for others who are still in the fire. When people encounter your story, either directly or through the energy you carry, they will be encouraged. They'll see evidence that transformation works. They'll receive hope that their own fire is forging something valuable. This is part of your purpose too, simply existing as transformed evidence, simply living as proof that the process works. You don't have to preach or teach or convince anyone. Your life will speak, your presence will testify, your transformation will inspire, and God will continue to be impressed as you continue to grow. Because transformation isn't a destination you've arrived at. It's a way of being you've adopted. You've become someone who transforms, someone for whom evolution is a natural, ongoing process. That's the true measure of achievement. It's not about who you are at this very moment, but rather who you are dedicated to becoming. It's not the transformation that's already complete, but the continuous transformation that defines you. God, in His infinite wisdom, knows you will continue to grow and evolve. He sees the trajectory of your soul, the path you are on, and what He sees stretching out into your future holds as much significance and impresses Him just as much as what you have already accomplished in your life. You are not a finished product. Your becoming is just beginning. The person you will be in just 1 year will make today's version of yourself seem limited in comparison. The person you'll be in 5 years will possess capacities and abilities you can't even currently fathom. And the person you'll ultimately become at the end of this life will have evolved so far beyond your present self that any comparison will be virtually meaningless. And at every stage of this evolution, God will be watching, not in a judgmental way, but with admiration and celebration. He's not distant but intimately engaged with your unfolding journey. This profound relationship is available to you right now. It's about relationship, not rigid rules or empty religion. It's about connection, not striving for perfect performance. It's about partnership with the divine. You've earned this through your own personal transformation. Not in the sense that transformation earns divine love, but because that transformation opens you up to fully receiving it. The walls that once kept you from experiencing divine intimacy have been broken down by your own growth and evolution. Now you are able to receive what has always been offered to you. Now you can experience what has always been available. Now you can walk in partnership with the infinite in ways that were previously impossible for your former self. This is the real meaning of impressing God. It's not about making Him love you more, but about becoming capable of receiving the unconditional love that was always present. It's not about earning His attention, but about developing the capacity for the profound relationship that His attention initiates. You possess that capacity now. You developed it through your transformation, and now heaven is responding in kind. For those who have found their way here and wish to deepen this connection with divine recognition, your transformation is now activated. There's specific knowledge and understanding about how to continue evolving in ways that sustain this heavenly partnership. These insights are readily available and accessible. Plus, you'll receive a complete audiobook and a concise 5-minute meditation guide as a special bonus to support your journey. If you feel called to more deeply understand how to walk in ongoing transformation that continues to resonate with celestial dimensions, access is readily available through the link in the description and the pinned comment of this video. If this message has confirmed something you've always felt but struggled to articulate, if it explained why your path has always felt different from those around you, if it put words to a sense of divine recognition you've been experiencing, then subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications to receive more insights and revelations about how chosen ones navigate their unique journey of transformation and purpose. Share this video with someone else who has also walked through transformative fire, because souls in the process of being forged need to recognize and encourage one another. Write 777 in the comments to affirm that you recognize your transformation holds cosmic significance and that you're ready to continue evolving in partnership with divine attention. And before you go, click on the video appearing on your screen right now to discover what happens when a chosen one's transformation begins to manifest blessings that confirm everything heaven has been preparing behind the scenes. Together, we are stronger and more resilient.